So good morning. In our last class, we discussed the various concepts of modeling in data science. So all of it were from the statistical perspective. Um, we discussed very new terms, that is probability and what is a model, and what are the things required for statistical model, and how to fit the model for the probability distribution. And then we discussed what is the density function. So density function is the one where the area under the curve will give the probability of 1, and how integration between the intervals will give the probability of an event occurring within that particular duration or the. Then we discussed the concept of overfitting. Then we stopped at exploratory data analysis. So exploratory data analysis, as mentioned, it is the first step towards building the model. So as described by this John, so it is an attitude and a state of flexibility and a willingness of a data scientist to look for the things that we believe are not there, and looking for the things which we believe are there. So actually this sentence means that it is just a first step where we look for the things that we believe that is there, and also we believe that is not there. That's it. So traditionally exploratory data analysis, it is presented as a histogram or a scatter plot, stem and leaf plots. But this EDA, it is a critical part in data science process. It represents the way data scientists do the statistics. This EDA came into picture in the Bell Laboratories because most of the statisticians who are originated in the Bell Lab tradition, which Bell Lab traditions means the people who are working in Bell Labs as an intern or a scientist, they follow this EDA process. So this EDA is done predominantly by those statisticians who are originated from Bell Labs. So again, there are two things. Either we can do EDA, exploratory data analysis, or confirmatory data analysis. So confirmatory data analysis always deals with itself with modeling and hypothesis, whereas in EDA there is no hypothesis or there is no model. Here the term exploratory means that it is purely for our understanding of the problem that we are going to solve in future. So as I mentioned while winding up the yesterday's class, that EDA is only for a data scientist to convince himself and to gain the confidence on the data in which he or she is working. So it is not for somebody else. So it is for self-understanding only. So historically, this John, who is a mathematician who worked on the EDA, he is called as the father of EDA and the R programming language. So another definition of data science is given by Bill. So he describes data science as an action plan for expanding the technical areas of the statistics. So data science is just an expansion of statistics in the technical horizon by integrating it with the multidisciplinary areas for the purpose of investigation, for modeling, for computing with the data, integrating with hardware, software, algorithmic coding, pedagogy, using the tools to evaluate things. And finally, it also includes the maths behind it. So the basic tools of EDA are the plots, graphs, and summary statistics. So it's a method of systematically going through the data, plotting distributions of all the variables, plotting the time series, transforming the variables, looking at the pairwise relationship of the variables using the scatter plot matrix, and then generating the summary statistics of all of them. So what EDA provides us is just this plot of graphs. And also we can obtain the mean, minimum, maximum, upper, lower boundaries. And also this EDA helps in identifying the outliers. So the important reason for having the EDA is because the EDA can give a great intuition about the data. It makes the comparison between the distributions easy. For checking the sanctity of the data or the cleanliness of the data, we can find out where the data is missing or it is having any outliers. And EDA also helps to summarize the data. So there is a saying in the philosophy of EDA that long before we know how to convince others, first we have to understand it, what is happening for ourselves. So this EDA is performed in Google also. So even though Google has a large scale of data, they still perform this EDA. Why do they perform is the same reason for which this is being conducted in a smaller data sets or in smaller companies also. So in Google, they perform the EDA for the logs that are generated. So it is based on the log data, they perform the EDA. So why they perform the EDA on the logs is because they want to identify the patterns in the data. For example, if there are any errors in the data, they can be fixed in the debugging process. So there will be no trouble if debugging is done and the patterns are real. So in the context of data generated from the logs, this EDA helps in debugging the logging process. So this also helps EDA helps to make sure that the product is performing as required for the application. So even though this EDA generates, graphs, scatter plots, and pairwise evaluations, but still it has a lot of differences with the visualization. So EDA and visualizations are not same. Why? Because EDA is done in the beginning of the analysis process, whereas the data visualization is done at the end to communicate or to represent the result of the findings. So EDA is done in the beginning of the analysis to verify the purity of the data, whereas the visualization is done at the end of the analysis to get the insights or the final result to represent it. So EDA is graphically done solely for a data scientist purpose to understand what is going on. So the understanding one get in EDA can inform the process, and by thus improvement can be done in the algorithms. So that is the benefit that EDA provides. So for example, if we are trying, let us assume we are trying to develop a ranking algorithm. So ranking algorithm is nothing but the one that ranks something. So just like Google search engine, where it ranks the results. So for ranking, we need to have a mechanism, right? So on what basis we will rank? So maybe on popularity. So if you want to rank the social media uh, people or icons, so they are ranked based on the popular. So how do we say one is popular? How to quantify it? So that may be based on the highest frequency of the clicks, the number of posts that gets the comments. When people post on social media, every now and then they will open their own post and check how many likes they have received, how many comments are there, how many uh, shares are, if we talk in Twitter, it is how many retweets are there. So that is what they keep on checking. So do we consider those, or we include everything based on some weights? So some weightage is given to likes, some weightage to comments, and some weightage to sharing. So that must be decided. So in order to decide these things, EDA will provide us a mechanism, or EDA will give us an insight about these things. So plotting the data and making comparison can take us extremely ahead in the analysis. So very far it will take us than just getting the data set and immediately running any machine learning algorithm on it. So that is about the process of EDA, its philosophy, the advantages it brings in. So next, let us look at the data science process. So this is the general framework of data science process. First, the process starts with the real world. So inside the real world, there are a lot of people doing a lot of activities. So many things are being done. People in technology industry developing new technologies, testing it, building the products for their clients. On the other end, there will be Olympics, sporting events going on across. Some spammers will be sending the emails, spam emails. In hospitals, doctors are treating the patients, and so on. So everywhere there is big data. So we cannot even imagine any aspect of life that doesn't generate data. So simply speaking, they are all raw data, log files, Olympic records, employee emails, recorded genetic materials. So then once the raw data is collected, the data has to be processed. So that processing will lead to cleaning of data. So we have to make it clean for the analysis. So in order to make it clean, we'll use a pipeline mechanism where we join the data, scrap it, wrangling of data. We can do whatever we want. So we have tools developed by languages such as Python, shell scripts, R, or SQL to do these things. So eventually we want the data to be in a format something like columns. That's it. However the data may be, however it is generated or logged, at the end of this collection and cleaning process, we want the data in the column format, maybe in Excel or CSV file. So that is where we'll start the statistics. So we typically start the standard statistics after cleaning. So once we have a clean data set, we'll do some kind of exploratory data analysis. So while doing the EDA process, we may realize that the data is not actually clean because it contains some duplicates, missing values are there, some unwanted outliers or unexpected outliers are there. So the data has been logged incorrectly. So if that's the case, what we have to do. So if the exploratory data analysis, if we identify these kind of flaws in the cleaning process or in the collection process, we'll go back and collect the data once again. Or we'll collect additional data, or we'll spend more time in cleaning. And that is what the EDA process helps us. So if EDA guarantees that the data is correct, then we'll move ahead with the statistical modeling. So we can then use the machine learning algorithms or the statistical models like KNN, K nearest neighbor algorithm, linear regression, naive Bayes, or some other models can be used. So the model we choose always depends on the type of the problem that we are going to solve. Our problem may be a classical problem where we want to classify the thing, or we want to predict something, or maybe a basic description problem. So once we have the model ready, then we can communicate, visualize, and report the findings. Or alternatively, what we can do is we can build a prototype called data product. So this product may be a spam classifier, search ranking algorithm, a recommendation system, like that. So what data science is special and distinct from statistics is that this data product. So at the end of data science process, we'll have a product, be it a spam classifier, malware detector, bot detector, or adware, or search ranking algorithms, a recommendation system, an appointment system, a scheduler, anything that is a product. And that is the specialty of data science when we compare it with the statistics. So the data product that gets incorporated back in the real world. So the data product is incorporated back in the real world, and the user interact with this product, gets or generates more data, and creates a feedback loop. So this is completely different than predicting the weather. So in a weather prediction, how it works, it takes the parameters, it takes the data, we'll match it with the previous data that we have collected from hundreds of years. They will search the patterns, and then they will predict. So the wind is blowing this many kilometers per hour, so it may reach, the direction is this. So if there is a deviation from that wind direction, it may reach this point. So we may have rain in 48 hours. So that is one way, that is prediction. In that prediction, the model doesn't influence the outcome at all. So let us imagine we have built a weather prediction module. Our module will predict the rain will come. Whether the rain will come or not, that is not decided by the model, right? So it is a law of nature. The nature, how it behaves, it's completely random. So the model cannot influence the outcome at all. So the statistician will not have the power to know why the rain is not coming. But instead, in the products such as a recommendation system that generates an evidence that lot of the people want to buy this particular product. If we are recommending things and people are buying, that gives a feedback that our recommendation system is working properly. So that loop is taken into account in analysis by adjusting the biases in the model. So why do we say there is a bias in the model? The bias in the model may be due to our failure in the modeling mechanism, or the models that we choose to fit our data, or adjusting the parameters. So our models are not just predicting the future, but also it is causing the future. That is the difference in data science. So in data science, we just do not predict the future, but also we make sure we are causing the future. We are recommending the things, and then the user is buying the product, and that is the feedback of the system that the recommendation system is correct. If the recommendation system is recommending and the people are not buying the product, that indicates there is something wrong in the model. And we have to fix the model by taking these feedback loops. So a data product that has been productionized and the user interact with is one at the extreme, that is one extreme, the weather prediction that is at the another extreme. But regardless of the type of the data we work with, the data product that gets built on top of it, be it public policy determined by statistical model, health insurance, election polls that gets widely reported, or the opinion polls where we try to influence people. So we should consider to what extent the model is influencing the phenomena. So if you have followed the news of yesterday, some toolkits, okay, are released where the mass of people are trying to influence another mass of set of people. So that is again, models where a set of people try to influence other set of peoples. So what is the role of data scientist? So we discussed the data science process, but what is the data scientist role? Where will he fit? So whatever we discussed previously, that doesn't happen automatically. It needs human intervention. So when a process needs human intervention, that human is a data scientist. It is someone who has to make the decision about what data has to be collected, why it has to be collected. And the person need to formulate the questions and hypothesis to make a plan on how the problem has to be looked at. And that someone is a data scientist. So data scientists will be a human, maybe behaving as a biologist, finance, internet, medicine, sociology, Olympics, sports. So data scientist is involved in every part of the process. So where the email data is collected, the raw data, maybe an email, log file, medical records, it may be a survey, the blood samples or medical records, Olympic records, web pages of news articles. So that is a raw data. So once the raw data is collected, data is processed through certain set of processes. So it is the data scientist who will formulate the hypothesis. So data scientist is responsible for cleaning the data. So who will take the decision whether the data is clean or not? If it is clean, how far it is clean? So if something is missing, what has to be done? How to identify the outliers, missing values, and how to debug the log files. So everything is decided by the data scientist. So he will decide how do we look at the data, what research question that is going to be answered. So all those things are the task of data scientists. So when we think of data scientist as data science as a process, there is an extension or variation of a scientific method. So what is that variation? Here we ask a questions, do the background research, we construct the hypothesis, test the hypothesis by doing the experiment, analyze the data, draw the conclusion, communicate the results. In both data science process and the scientific method, not every problem requires to go through all the steps, but almost all the problems, these steps are required, or it may be solved by the combination of the stages. For example, if our end result is a data visualization, so it's possible that we might not do any machine learning or statistical modeling at all. But you may want to get all the way to clean the data set, do some exploratory analysis, and then we'll create a visualization. So this is a correlation and variation of data science process and a scientific method. So we can stop here for today's class. So in our next class, we shall see the experiments and one case study, that is real direct case study on that particular company, and what they do, how does they make money, and what is their data strategy. So that we will discuss in our next class. So you can enter your attendance in the chat window and exit.